Hello again and welcome to Lit Bashing, where the L stands for Legions, the I stands for Imperialis, and the Bashing stands for Kit Bashing. Now, don't be betrayed by this big box over here. We're not talking about that today. That's just there for a bit of context, because I managed to get they were a little bit delayed, not because of the store, but just because they were delayed as a product. The battle groups, which should have been out last Saturday, but like I say, they were delayed a couple of days, and I thought I'd put it off until this weekend, since I had an awful lot on my plate in terms of building and converting. So I have been able to get my hands today on the Solar Battle Group and the Astartes Battle Group. And because it was also Scale-and-Tide Day, I thought I'd put that at the back because I picked that up at the same time from HLS Models. The name will be around somewhere on the screen. If you're in the southeast of England, please do go look them up. They're a specifically epic scale focused local friendly wargame shop. They always have loads of Legions Imperialis in stock, as well as other epic scale games, and quite a decent selection of the big 28mm stuff as well. At the usual, kind of at least quite an extensive discount. I think it's 20%, if not, yeah, it must be a 20%. I'll do the maths later. But yeah, either way, great guys. Tiny little store at the back of South African food stall, and just all the epic scale models you could ever want. As I was saying, I have these battle groups, and I hold them in my hands now. And the reason I have these is because they are tiny. I know it would make sense because they're an epic scale kit, but they really are tiny. They are, you could fit 4 of these boxes inside a single Scale-and-Tide. And I suppose it makes sense because there are about 5 kits. If I don't think about 5 kits, I think there are 5 regular kits in one of these. So it makes sense that you can kind of fit 4 standard boxes, and accounting for rattle space and air, kind of makes sense that you're only looking at up kind of 4 times the size. But, that doesn't change the fact that they really are adorably small. Same size box for both. And each one only about A4 this size. So again, I put that next to a white dwarf over here. It's the same height as a white dwarf, and the same height as the Legion's rulebook, and tiny compared to the Scale-and-Tide. So if you're used to opening up a battle group and it being enormous, just be aware, don't look at them and think, oh, these are tiny. Yes, they are, but you get an awful lot of very densely packed miniatures. I don't know if you can see the actual miniature count on them. The Astartes battle group gets you 164, and simply by virtue of the tanks being bigger, only 160 in the Auxilia battle group. But they are quite beefy kits. So what do you get inside? Let's adjust the camera slightly. Now you don't have to see the big scary Stormcast at the back. So starting with the Auxilia battle group, as I said, you get 5 standard kits inside. Those standard kits are 1 infantry, 1 support, 1 Dracosans, 1 Leman Russ, and 1 super heavy tank box. That's 5 boxes in one of these. And I think the RRP from Games Workshop is 110. Obviously with the discount I paid a lot less than that, which is nice. But that's still, that's a saving of more than a box. So for the price of less than 4 boxes, you get 5 boxes. So if you want all the models inside, or if you're just starting off, these are the best value kits you can get, both in terms of number of models and points on the board. I did a kind of which boxes are the most points efficient for your money, and both of these kits came well up in the top 10 and were only really beaten up by some of the flyers and knights, which arguably overcosted rather than points efficient. Now, the thing to remember with this box is there are some weird numbers, particularly if you're going for single weapon loadouts. So I don't know why, but the support box has these in groups of 6, and you get 2, so you get 6 on one and 6 on the other, but one comes in 3s, but you only get 2 of each weapon, and so you get 4 of each weapon between both sprues, which then means if you want to split them up, you have to separate the weapons. You also kind of have to do the same thing with these. They come in 4s, but you can upgrade them by 2s, so that's less of a concern. But it does mean, and also with the automated sentry, it doesn't matter if you mix and match units. They fire model by model anyway. But particularly with the rapiers, it was a weird decision. I can only assume that they decided the points cost based on the Astartes one maybe, and didn't realise they weren't going to quite match out. I don't know. But either way, it's a good kit. You get an awful lot of infantry from the Solar infantry box. It should be noted that with this kit, 2 of the boxes in here come in the main starter box. So you'll be getting a whole set of these Leman Russ, whereas usually you only get half in the starter box, and you get a whole set of these infantry, which you would get a whole set of these infantry in the starter box anyway. And I think if I were to make any complaints, I would say that they're just a little bit unimaginative, these boxes, because generally speaking, each sprue is self-contained. So, you get a sprue per Baneblade, you get a sprue per 3 Dracosans, you get a sprue per 4 Leman Russ. They could have mixed and matched a bit. You could have had maybe 1 sprue of each and 3 sprues of the infantry that you might want more of. And, just mix and match so it wasn't just a case of getting 5 kits as standard. So that might have been more fun. So rather than just giving you 5 kits, give you a kind of like pick and mix of some of the other kits. So you could have got 1 sprue of Arva Slighters, 1 sprue of Dracosans. And that would still be useful because you still, 3 Dracosans still, I think they're transport 4, so that's still 12, which would get you most of a infantry las rifle tercio. And the same thing for the Astartes box we'll look in a minute. So it's maybe slightly uninspired in terms of what's inside them, is the only complaint. But that is a really minor complaint. The kits you get are all very useful. The Leman Russ, although you do get them in the starter box, are probably the best tank for the Astartes in the book at the moment. And with more variants coming out, if you already have a full set of these Leman Russ with the Vanquisher cannon, I'd say still get these, just don't put on the weapons. And then when the new variants come out, use the spare weapons, because I assume they'll come out in pairs, so you'll get maybe the Destroyers and the Exterminators together or whatever. You can use the spares and get yourself more of those using the cheaper price of this. So, that's not even kit badging, that's just taking the heads and putting them on the other bodies. A Leman Russ body is a Leman Russ body. So yeah. In terms of what's in this kit, I don't have super heavies and I don't have Dracosans yet. I have got the other kits and they are lovely kits. As again, there's some weird numbers with the support kit, but that's minor complaints compared to how nice the sculpts all are. So I'm going to look forward to building that. Now I've actually started to paint up my Solar. So that's just looking at the back of the Solar box and some initial thoughts on that. And now the Astartes Battle Group. Now, even though Astartes are the ones I've got the most of, that also means none of these kits are new for me. I've got all of these kits, in some cases several times over, but they're still going to be useful, still going to be fun. Note you get more models because you've got the 10 tank rhinos, which are the, I suppose, the Leman Russ equivalent, and you've got the 4 tank Kratos, which are the super heavy equivalent. Let's turn that around so we can see that as well, so we can reference them both. Interestingly, Dracosans, they don't match up perfectly. So this is much more infantry heavy, which is, in terms of competitiveness, is good. This is, you get a lot more infantry in this one. I'm counting the speeders, the cavalry as infantry, because lots of the rules that apply to one also apply to them. So even though you get, you get little Cyclops things in there, and you get more of the tarantulas in there, you get a lot of boots on the ground with this one, and a lot of transport. I think you get more transport in this one. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 20 transport. I knew there were 2 each, and I knew there were 10. Don't know why I needed to count up in 2s. Just thought I'd do some reading rainbow maths with you. Whereas these guys, oh no, you get more with these ones because they're transport 4, transport 6, transport 4. So yeah, you get 24 with those, and you only get 20 with these. So you get more transport with that one as well, but fewer big tanks. They are massive tanks. There's a reason they're called super heavies. But you get 4 Kratos versus 2 of the Bane Blade variant you choose to build. Competitively, although the Space Marine inventory is very, very good, I think probably competitively I have to give it to this box, just because of how good the Rend troops are, the Ogrins and the Velatari, the fact that the Leman Russ themselves are by far better tanks than 4 Kratos. And as much as I love the models, the Vanguard box isn't the best competitively. If I were building a competitive list, I probably wouldn't use Vanguard models. I might, in a World Eaters detachment, throw in a full group of jet bikes to make the most of that close combat and just how fast they move and just run in with World Eaters. Other than that, I don't think I'd use them in a competitive list. I would definitely use them in a fluffy list, and therefore I will use them whenever I play, because I don't play competitive. But if you were min-maxing, maxing out your Leman Russ, maxing out your Velatari, maxing out your Ogrins and maxing out your Sentinels is better than the equivalent competitive options in this. But, it depends which army you're playing. And, it's not a competitive game. Although we've done kind of competitive army building and stuff on this channel before, it's Horus Heresy at its heart. It's a narrative game. You're not supposed to be playing to win. If you're playing to win, you just have an entire army, entire League of Contemptor Dreadnoughts and missile launchers, which, essentially eventually you get to Fox only, final destination, no items, which is not how it's supposed to be played. So yeah, play it how it's supposed to be played with a whole bunch of different things. So these tiny boxes, as tiny as they are lovely. And let's have a look inside. I don't know which one I'll have a look at first. Sculpted side, Solar. Not sculpted side, Astartes. Not sculpted it is. Let's open the Astartes first. That's good, because that means I'll be saving the kits that I've not opened for last, which is a nice way of doing it. Trusty scalpel. I just changed the blade on it so it's unnecessarily sharp. I just changed the blade on it because I'm working on some new lit bashes. I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear, because as fun as these unboxing and more reviewy type videos are, I know we're all really here for the kit bashing. So am I. That's why it's the name of the thing. Ooh, colour instructions specific to the battle group. That's automatically a win, isn't it? So rather than the little boxes, cool. With the weapons given names, that's good for people who don't know what they are. Nice. I wonder if that means, oh no, there weren't any mistakes in these ones. There were a couple with mistakes, weren't there? But I don't think any of the ones that had mistakes are in here. I think they were the Land Raider. Cool. Yeah, very clear which option's which. Good. That's a good instruction book. Better. I know they can't. It's probably not good for profit margins. Profit Marvin. Who's Profit Marvin? I don't know. Profit margins or the environment to give, you know, proper colour instructions to every single box, but for the big boxes. That's fun. 32mm base, these are the things that are like gold dust. By all means use MDF ones, although I'm very against... I'm not, when I say I'm against 3D printing, I don't mean I'm against 3D printing for you guys. 3D print as much as you like, you know, if don't let cost stop you from doing a hobby you love. You know, if you need the 3D print to afford this hobby, or if you just want to 3D print because that's the way you do your hobby, you do you. But for this channel, we do traditional kit bashing, but even with that, little MDF disc bases, entirely okay to rely on just to give you more bases for the models you're using. So the 32mm bases are good, not quite as varied as the 25 ones, but you're not going to be using as many of them. Let's see. How many do you get? Do you get a perfect number? They probably have, haven't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. And inside the box you get... Do you get 10? I think you do. Inside the box you get, yeah, 6 jet bikes, 4 outriders. So yeah, perfect number. No spares to go playing around with and spreading your models out, but never mind. That's what MDF bases are for. And then, of course, always the stars of the show. The regular 10mm, 25mm ones. So, you get some kits we're very familiar with by now. There's the Kratos kit, which we all know and love. And 2 of the same identical sprue. There's the support group, which we all know and love. Now, just a little bit of background, I am going to be doing some kit bashing on these ones, just little weapon swaps, because I want to use the Unverless autocannons on to make the White Scars special jet bikes, not jet bikes, scimitars they have. No, they are jet bikes. Land speeders, what are they called? Javelins. The special White Scar javelins that they have. So I'm going to use those, and then I'm going to use some las cannons to make eyeless las cannons on the Derrideos. So that's going to be fun. Mix things up a bit. Yeah. 2 of the support box, which is a lovely box. I think the Astartes went out as far as the support box goes. There's the Rhino kit, which again is one of our first releases in the very first wave. But they do come with those multi-melters, and I'm not going to put multi-melters in any of my vehicles, but I am using them to make another squad of sun killers to go with my las cannon sun killers. There's our fast attack box. Again, the least competitive of the boxes, but they are incredibly nice models. And these little outriders, even though they are the least competitive option in the least competitive box, they're just adorable. I can't get mad at outriders, can I? Because yes, you're cute. Yes, you are. Right. And here's the standard infantry sprue, which again, we all know and love. It's a great sprue. Without this sprue, this channel wouldn't exist. All the various characters I've made are using this sprue. Still, there's always the problem, and thankfully it only ever seems to affect 1 per box. Never seems to affect both. Like that sword is incredibly tight, but this sword has bent a bit, and that always seems to be the case with this sprue. I know they put this little bit here to try and protect it. It doesn't work. I think you're just going to have to accept that one of the swords is going to be a little bent, and you just have to bend it back. Maybe use a little hot water. Maybe use a little Tamiya extra clear just to give it some strength. Yeah, so there's the sprues for this box. Topping me up because I've just built all my old sprues. In terms of 2 transfer sheets, presumably that's 1 for the Rhino box, 1 for the Kratos box. So yeah, so it is basically exactly what you'd get if you bought the 5 separately, but for much cheaper and in a much cuter, more adorable box. So I can't complain. If I were to complain, it would be I'd prefer a sort of pick and mix style with you know, you don't need to run 4 Kratos. They could have put just 2 Kratos in, like a single sprue, and then given you a sprue of Leman Russ to go, not Leman Russ, Predators to go in there to top up your starter set Predators. You know, most of these you can run on one sprue, so a more pick and mixy option, making the most of the fact it's a big box, I would have liked to see. But if you're just going for, here's 5 kits, 5 useful kits in a box, 4 much cheaper than they're supposed to be, you know, can't complain with that one. Let's go for the Auxilia Battle Group. Get out the super sharp scalpel. Try not to cut my fingers in half. I've managed to get much better at not chopping my fingers in half. Though I have got a horrible mosquito bite from the horrible weather we're having. It means we're having to keep all the windows open all the time, which then means whenever it rains, all the mosquitoes go, right, let's go suck the blood of Matty because we hate them. Right, so again, nice full colour instructions. The inventory box, know this kit, I know it well. The support box, it's a good box. I used this box to make the most recent unit lit bash. They're heavy. I think I'll probably do Hellhammers. I don't know, either way, I'm looking forward to building this because I've never built one before in any scale. So having a tiny plastic bane blade is going to be fun. Or Hellhammer, if I build a Hellhammer. The Leman Russ are back there. And did I miss the Dracosans? Where's the Dracosans? Oh, it's there. Yep, there's the Dracosans. Cool. So yeah, nice instruction book. Very nice instruction book. Again, I know they can't do it for every kit. Unfortunately, no 32mm ones in here because there's no 32mm auxiliary units, but still 2 nice boxes of infantry bases. And then here, this must be the big boy. Oh no, this is the Dracosans. So starting with the Dracosans, 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 I don't know, pronounce how you like. Looking forward to these because I want to make a mechanized infantry sub-cohort for my... See, I don't... My Slanesh ones, the ones that ally with the Emperor's Children, either a Kakin Janissaries or the other one. The one they just did the focus on the sub-cohort thing. Oh, what are they called? I'll put it up on the screen if I can remember. But yeah, the purpley ones. The thing is, generally speaking, I like it when the sub-cohorts don't perfectly match their associated legion. So the fact that the Chthonian headhunters, for example, use kind of Abaddon's kind of like first company colour, like as opposed to the general greens of the Sons of Horus, is really nice. That kind of helps them separate. I like it, and it also links them with the Legio Mortis. So when you have them all together, there's this kind of clashing thing going on, which is nice. So yeah, I don't like the fact that some of the new sub-cohorts they've just introduced have just gone, oh, here's a cohort with the colours of a Space Marine Legion. And also, not only are they the colours of the Space Marine Legion, their symbol is just the Space Marine Legion symbol in a little V. That's not as fun. So I'll play with it. Either way, I'm going to have one kind of demi company or equivalent for each of my standard legions. Infantry sprue, along with the gold dust like sentinels. Lots more Ogryns. Ogryns nice. Someone pointed out on the Discord that when I say the Discord, I mean just the general Legions of Imperialis Discord. Maximal Fire have a Discord as well. I don't think quite worth having a lit bashing focused one itself yet. So feel free to come and meet me on the general Legions Discord if you want to hang out. Or come join me on my Patreon if you want private chats. That's fun too. So yeah, what was I saying? Completely lost my thought of train there. Anyway, the reason it's kind of tricky now, and I've actually been building a solar army, is all the bits that I usually would chop up. I'm like, oh, actually, I could do with another couple of bases of those. So I like buying big boxes every now and then just to top up the bits box, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah, so I was talking something about the Discord. I have no idea what I'm talking about. If I remember, I'll put it up on screen, but I probably won't. Because short-term memory is for losers. Cool. It's a good box, though, the inventory box. And here's the support box. Now, I don't think it's as good as the Astartes box set, even just by virtue of not being as interesting. Like, it's all tarantulas, and tarantulas are good. Like, you're going to want as many anti-aircraft tarantulas as you can fit in your list. It's just, yeah, it's just a bit dull, having just a whole thing of mini tanks and sentinels, having the dreadnoughts, the tarantulas, and the rapiers. I think that's better than Cyclops, tarantulas, and rapiers. But you might disagree. You might not like the bigger dreadnoughts, and that's fine too. Either way, it's a good kit. Talking about potential kit bashes, I'm tempted, if I have any spare anti-aircraft ones, I'd like to use these on Derrideos to give them the missile top rather than the cyclone top. That might be fun too. In any case, it's a good kit. And under here are the ones I've not yet used. Goodness, they are big, aren't they? I say they're big, I'm holding them in my hand on A5 sprues. But no, they are huge, huge tanks in the scheme of this game. Each one, that must be twice the size of a Sakaran. I reckon you could fit 2 Sakarans side by side on there. Big tanks. I look forward to building those. Nice. Big tanks. And the equivalent transport sprues. Interestingly, only 2, even though there's 3 vehicles. Do the Lehman Russ not get them? Maybe because they're too detailed. I don't know. In any case, you get the same ones you get from all the other ones. You get Deathless, Bormite Devils, Ash Scorpions, Lord Mortal Zone, 39 Rams, Manichaean Balls, Chthonian Headhunters, and Arcadian Janissaries. None of the kind of smaller ones, which is a shame because, you could fit more than, I think you fit 3. You could fit 3 of these Auxilia sheets on a single Astartes sheet, so you don't get as many cool transfers. I mean, even if they just bulked it out with numerals and other heraldry, that would be nice. So it's a shame they don't. So, Astartes wins out on the transfer front if you're of a transfer persuasion. So those are the 2 boxes as they look. There should be the same number of sprues if that one looks slightly bigger than the other. I think that's just because of the way that they've slotted into each other. Yeah, same number of sprues, similar number of bases, but the Astartes get more variety. Similar number of transfer sheets, but the Astartes are bigger. So, if you're going competitive, this is a bigger box. If you just want lots of things to model, this one's a better box. Generally speaking, I think they're both quite even. The only thing I'd say is, again, like I said before, it's a shame they're just 5 kits. A bit more of a pick and mix. Like, here's 1 sprue from each of the kits would have been cool. But, I understand why they didn't. I understand why they thought, let's just go for a bundle of 5 kits. Anyway, do I recommend them? Yes. If you can afford such things, get one. If you can't, go to HLS Models and you'll get 20% off. Or wherever is local to you. There are lots of great deals out there. Yeah, that's your final shot, seeing these 2 side by side. I'm now going to chop them up and turn them into things they're not supposed to be. So look forward to seeing videos about that. while the next thing I'm working currently on my table is I've got some heavy bolter underslung heavy support troops. They're fun. And I've got the bits I need to make Malagus the Twisted, because I found this little logo that comes with the, I think of this 28mm Land Raider set. It is big even for Malagus, so it might need a bit of trimming down, but you know, it's fun. At this scale, a little bit of silly chippiness isn't the worst thing. So yeah, so enjoy Scaventide weekend if you're Age of Sigmar inclined, or enjoy the rats from it if you are Old World inclined, or enjoy all the amazing Legions Imperialis models coming. Hopefully now Scaventide is out of the way. Very soon we'll have the next wave of Legions coming out, the Talon box. It seems to be mostly vehicles. I don't think we'll get anything more revealed, but you know, we might do. It seems weird to release siege drills and not release breaches, but you know, maybe they're just a little bit further behind. I'll do a few more analysis videos on that when it's time to do analysis videos on that. For now, this is just your deep dive into what's inside the two big boxes. They're great. If you're just starting off, buy them. If you're bulking out your forces, buy them. I really don't see any downside to them unless you're strictly competitive, in which case the Astartes box isn't the most competitive way to do it. I mean, it's still cheaper. Most of the units are competitive in it, but really you're probably just going to buy lots and lots of infantry boxes rather than infantry and vanguard and the tanks. I think so far as the Astartes goes, you just want as many of the infantry boxes as you can. But certainly for the Auxilia, great way to be. You can never have too many of the models in that kit. So thank you very much for watching. As usual with this kind of thing, I won't edit it down too much because it's longer if I don't, and that means YouTube gives me more pennies. So please like and subscribe and support so I can be scraping those pennies from the bottom of YouTube's boot. Thank you, as always, to my patrons who make it so I don't have to lick quite so hard. And, you know, peace and love, as always. And do keep on lit bashing.